And we have the man probably most in demand here as well, if you wouldn't be kind enough to make an introduction.
Yeah, I'm Craig Adams, the President and CEO of Pico.
Well, obviously, there's been just a tremendous need in the past couple of days, but we've really narrowed the gap with the productivity output of the Department of Emergency Services, a lot of the volunteer organizations, and the Governor's Office in Pima, and we're very grateful for that. And Ed, if you would be kind enough to sort of take us through where we are now so that we can let the Governor's Office know and PICO and everyone else know what we still need to do to get everybody feeling safe and secure in their homes.
Yes, sir. Here's kind of how we got here. On the 5th of February, we still had residual snow on the trees and wires and everywhere. And about 3 o'clock in the morning, we started getting some freezing rain. And freezing, ice is terrible for all things. Initial conditions that we encountered, all of the schools were closed. A shelter is a place where you can go and you can live. It's not real comfortable, maybe not the best environment, but you can live there. Warming center, hey, it's cold. I'm pretty miserable. I want to go and get a hot cup of coffee, warm up a little bit. So we established both of those. You notice some of the, a couple of the shelters, we worked real hard to make sure they were pet friendly so people could bring their companions with them. One of the early and really great decisions we made was to reach out to the state and get the mega shelter open. That really saved a lot of problems. The state then came in, DPW particularly, very easy to work with, great stuff going on. They set it up, they run it, they make it happen. We coordinate with them, we talk to them, we help with transportation, but that's just one whole problem that isn't mine. I thank you.
Let's talk about what these issues are.
Okay. They're the big ones right there, sir, the information flow.
Between who and who?
Between my emergency ops center and PICO.
Okay, and you're addressing that?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. And I must say, if Chuck and Keith, if Chuck and Keith had been here 3 days ago, we'd probably all be home now.
Okay.
We still have a lot of work to do.
Okay, well, yeah. Okay, a decision process, what is?
It was extraordinarily difficult and time-consuming and frustrating to get decisions made.
Gotcha. Okay.
And focus. There were some challenges and discussions and debates. PICO, rightfully so, wants to get electrons flowing.
Sure.
I also want to get electrons flowing.
Sure.
But I need to have traffic flowing, and I need to be able to get emergency vehicles
Gotcha.
where they need to go.
Okay.
And we had I thought a very good call this morning. We're on the way, but we have work to do yet.
Okay.
Long-term recovery. Fortunately, the commissioners recently approved us to form a long-term recovery committee where we can focus on, because this is going to be a while before we're out of this.
Right.
And some of the long-term things, long-term debris removal, long-term home rehabilitation, because some homes have been damaged, things like that. That committee has been up and running now in various stages for almost a year. Still in a developing process, but we're able to mobilize that committee to start doing a lot of the things that we need to do. And it brings a lot of volunteers in, and volunteer organizations active in disasters. We have a very good relationship with that organization throughout the whole southeast region. And that's been very, very helpful. We're able to reach out and start pulling people with specific skills that we need to do things. Shelter management, chainsaw teams, just all sorts of things like that. Nobody's died from it that we're aware of. We've had about 25 cases.
Same thing, people running generators that weren't properly ventilated, that sort of thing?
Yes, sir, generators. We've had some people lighting charcoal stoves in the living room.
Inside.
We had a bonfire, seriously, we had a bonfire in a garage. Probably the all-time number one on that list is somebody was cold and hungry and tired and frustrated and said, hey, I got a really good idea. Why don't I light this door flame log on our kitchen table?
Oh.
Fortunately, nobody died. Fortunately, the house didn't burn down, but it could have been a mess.
It could have been a real
Could
mess.
have been a mess.
Have to be cognizant of
Yeah, and Patty and we've all been trying to hammer that.
Yeah.
Bobby's, the other thing I should have mentioned, sorry Bobby, Bobby's done all kinds of interviews, and that's been one of the constant themes, be
Yep.
careful, be careful, be careful.
that. Careful.
But things happen.
Ed, the road closures, because there's still a substantial number of road closures, particularly in the northern part of the county and the eastern part, that's going to be a municipal determination for all municipal roads, and then they will notify you, and you will then take that off the list. Is that how? How will the public know that once a road's open? When they drive down it, or is there some element?
We're trying to keep the list updated and get it out to the municipalities. That's tough. One of the facts of our form of government is we are quick to be told when a road is closed. Sometimes it takes a while for us to know that the road has been opened,
Right.
particularly if there's no wires involved in it. And we've had a lot of those. Okay. I'll show you where we are on that here in just a second.
And I was going to ask, what is the primary reason for road closure right now? Is it wires down, is it trees down, is it both?
A lot of both.
Okay.
A lot of both.
All of the above?
Yeah, all the above. One of the things that we were working with one of Mr. Adams' guys earlier today is the situation, we need to be able to understand better and quicker whose wires they are.
Right,
And we just found out that can actually be done electronically.
okay.
You know, so if we know it's a Verizon and we can verify that, we don't really need to tie it to Pico guys.
Gotcha.
But the long pole in the tent often is, do we have enough saws? Because the municipal road crews, they're pretty exhausted. They've been working,
Yeah. Straight
pretty
through.
hard.
Yeah.
But fortunately, we have DCNR and Game Commission and Team Rubicon here, so we're putting together a smoother process to get everybody at the same place at the same time, make it safe, cut enough, get it up.
How many crews altogether, chainsaw crews, do you think you are out?
What do we have, Bill? 20, Bobby?
We currently have 30 chainsaw crews that are out working.
I was off by 10, sorry.
Off the right way?
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Communications in regard to safety, we're not only focused on that for our employees that are working with the very high voltages that they do, but also our citizens, our customers, staying away from the wires, staying away from home generators in their home, kerosene heaters. We agree, we've seen instances of charcoal grills in homes and a lot of sources of carbon monoxide. And one other one, just going ahead and make the commitment to shelter instead of trying to tough it out at home. There's really nice places that are available, and we just think they're underutilized when people could be much more comfortable. Focusing on the critical care facilities like hospitals, emergency centers, we certainly don't want a facility like this to be without power. We are focusing on a number of other centers like nursing homes, pumping stations, water plants, making sure first the ones that have absolutely no power are powered up, and then moving back to the ones that are running on generator. Currently we have about 138,000 customers out. Most that's between Montgomery, Bucks, and Chester counties, the majority of that. There's currently 56,000 Chester County customers that are out of power that we're working to restore. We have about 6,000 employees that are essentially tripling the size of the PICO organization to come in and help restore power throughout the area. Have a number of crews that are working in this area, and in total we have over 1,000 line crews working throughout this territory to restore the power, and substantially more resources than we employed for Hurricane Sandy. We're going to continue to bring in resources until we have the power back, because once the power's back, as Ed very clearly said, we still have that long-term repair to do so that the system can be reliable once it is restored. Right now it's kind of strung together so people's power can come back on, but we really need to do the long-term repair. We may want to change the experience and level of the person here, and
Gotcha.
maybe the number, to be able to be a little bit more efficient
Gotcha.
and
Okay.
helpful immediately.
Gotcha.
The guys here now are great.
Before we go to Kathy, one of the things you do post cleanup is to go back and assess what went right, what went wrong, and then revise your action plan accordingly so that the next time this happens,
Yes, sir.
things that could have been improved upon will
Yes,
be
sir.
improved upon.
Yes, sir. And we've actually already started taking notes for that.
Good, good.
PICO utilizes the same approach, and we work with the other utilities in coordination with PUC to try to do that on a best practices sharing perspective. So if we learn a lesson in one place, we can learn it every place.
Right.
Mr. Adams, how far away have some of these crews come from?
Alabama, Georgia, Arkansas, Canada, New York, Connecticut, Chicago.
And this is all through mutual aid packages?
This is through
that's
mutual aid
established?
programs that exist among the utilities.
Kathy Gazone.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor, for coming in Chester County, and thank you for the update. As I said earlier, all of the situation reports that we have been provided with have been really, really helpful, so I just want to take the opportunity to thank Ed and Bobby and everyone who's working in the EOC for all of your hard work and commitment to the citizens of the county during this storm. I had the opportunity to stop by the Lionville shelter on Wednesday night, and it really was working really, really well. So I just also would like to thank the Red Cross, the Chester County Food Bank, the sheriff's deputies were there.
And I left them out of the briefing, and I apologize for that. It's just pretty busy this morning.
And
Yes.
Well, it's a given that the sheriff's deputies would be engaged, so we all understood that.
While I was out trying to find some coffee for the folks, I noticed a great number of law enforcement officers, EMS crews, firefighters who are out all throughout the county. So I think we owe them all a thank you, a debt of gratitude for the work that they have been doing continuously throughout this storm. So I know we have a number of folks who are still without power, without heat. Social media, I think, has been helpful for those people who have access to the internet.
We're here today to highlight the help that has been provided by so many across this county, but also to shine a microscope on what still is needed. We have opened 110 roads, but there are still 240 yet to go. PICO has restored electricity to 140,000 residents who lost power, but there are still 57,000 more households to go. This will then get us into what Director Atkins recognized is going to be the next challenge for us, and that is the long-term debris removal, home restoration, and the process by which we go through FEMA for the fact that we have a disaster declaration, and there will be some grant funding or funding. There will not be, because it's not, okay. Well,
Sorry, sir.
maybe I was crossing my fingers on that one. But the committee work that will be needed in order to get the restoration.
Good representation in Washington to get some of that FEMA money up here.
And then finally, and we always like to do this here in Chester County because we have such a tremendous level of volunteerism in our fire companies. The number of firefighters that are out there, not fighting fires today, but helping with so many of the problems we have across the county right now. When challenges are confronted by those volunteer members of our county, it really demonstrates the character and commitment of so many in Chester County. And finally, Ed, thank you for your leadership. And
You guys are great.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely fantastic. Governor and I have been very impressed by what you've been able to do here, what your colleagues throughout the southeastern Pennsylvania and along the southern tier of the state have been able to do in order to meet the challenges. And you know, as Commissioner Costello said, we've seen 135,000 restored thanks to the hard work of the folks at PICO Energy. There's still 57,000, but I would say this as well. Having been through a couple of these events, both statewide and in my old capacity as a county commissioner, if there's one person who is left unrestored or whose life has been disrupted, even if they had power, but their life has been disrupted in some way, that's one too many. And that's really why I'm here today. That's why the governor asked me to come, to better understand what it is that is needed, how we can help facilitate as quickly as possible that seamless transition, that recovery, because frankly, I think it is all of our stated goal. Whether we look at the citizens of Chester County and Bucks County and Delaware County and Philadelphia County as constituents, or we look at them as customers, we're all very interested, I think, in trying to get their lives back to normal as quickly as possible. The good news, as has been said, and I think it bears being said one more time, no one has lost their life here in Chester County, and that's job one for all of us. But beyond that, I think what has also been remarkable, and Ed, you mentioned it repeatedly, is how that volunteer spirit, both within Chester County, within southeastern Pennsylvania, and frankly from around the country, of people who are willing to pitch in and help and make things better, and I think that's where we're off to now. What I am here to say is, quite frankly, thank you. Thank you for everything that you have done and that you're going to continue to do. There is progress, a great deal of progress being made, and that's due in no small part to the people in this room who are working tirelessly around the clock in order to make it happen. We are going to make sure, the state government, Governor Corbett and I are going to make sure that whatever you need, whatever resources you need in order to bring this recovery phase of the disaster to a close and get people's lives back in order, we're going to make sure you have it. We're going to continue to work with your county commissioners, with your great emergency management team in order to make sure that they communicate to us what it is that you need. So,
Dispatch, police dispatch over there.
hey John.
Good, how are you?
Doing okay.
Keith Simpkins, he's platoon leader on duty today.
Hi, how are you?
I want to take you through. Sir, how are you?
Quiet. Quiet, sir.
Sir, we never asked that out here.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. You're right. There you go. That's
So,
good.
please don't do that to us.
On the side of the kitchen.
Are you trying to make an ornament here?
Cut here.
Branches like
No.
I don't touch those.
No, nor do I.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What's your name?
I'm Beate Poland.
Very nice to meet you.
Good.
How long you been out here?
This is my third day. I came on Thursday. I'm from Maryland.
Oh, great.
My professional private unit.
Oh, wonderful.
And got injured a couple of years ago pretty bad. And you know what? It makes you feel incredible to help others.
That's awesome.
And you walk away from this and you feel like you made a difference.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Good to see you out here.
Thank you.
Thank you.